Okay, so me, Mahina, the shirt I chose to wear by my own doing.
He was not forced. He's not blinking twice for savior. He's not a captive.
We got some updates here in Hawaii. Wintertime, you guys know, it's fully begun. Yesterday we had the Eddie ceremony, and tonight we have the heat draw for the VIDS Pipe Masters, and the tour guys are showing up for their pipe event and the sunset event. Winter's in full swing. We're back on North Shore after some epic travels through Europe and the rest of the world. We had a super crazy year. We put in a collage of clips together, a compilation, if you will say, of footage from the whole year and making it into one edit. And tomorrow, the 8th, we will also be doing our store opening in Haleiwa. Florence opening its first shop in Haleiwa, which we're very excited about. Crazy year for Team Florence. Joined earlier this year, and we just went all around the world, visited shops all around the world. We tested gear all around the world, testing gear with my brothers, testing gear with Mahina and Zord, and on all our trips, and just trying to make the best, most useful surf products we could. So very exciting. But in this video, me and Mahina will be going over our breakdown, our picks for the Bet Online odds, our bets for the VIDS Pipe Masters. So we're going to break down who we think are top picks to win and who some underdog picks. So we're going to get right into that. First things first, we're going to start with the men's side. Ton of very good surfers in the invite list. But we're going to break it down based off just top 3 picks based on who's good in contest and who we think could win based off their talent and ability in a heat scenario and be able to read pipes based on the conditions, and then some picks based off how the odds were laid out. And so those will be the underdog picks. So for the men's side, these are just the top picks of the guys who I think perform really well at pipe. They have really good read on the way pipe moves and can often, even though the format this year isn't like a traditional heat scenario where you compete against the guys just in your heat to qualify to the next heat, you are competing against everyone in the event in your heat. So there's a round surfers will surf, was it 2 or 3 times?
3 times, I believe.
Surfers will surf 2 or 3 rounds. There will be no elimination, but then after the 2 or 3 rounds are surfed, there will be finalists picked based off their top scores to go to a final, and then that final will surf, and that'll be for the win of the event. So my top picks are going to be Billy, Jamie, and Baron, and I'll explain why. Billy has a way of manufacturing scores out there. Some guys just have that, they can find a good wave even when the conditions aren't that good, and he does that pretty often. He finds those waves, he gets those scores, and he can, even in this type of format where you compete against the whole draw, it's about accumulation of top scores over the 3 rounds, and he's pretty good at just getting at least 2 good ones. Jamie, we know Jamie's super motivated. Controversial invite situation has fired him up to the point where he's just like, I know he just is like out for blood. He wants to win. He wants to prove, not that he has anything to prove, best pipe surfer ever, but he wants to do really well. And the guy just knows pipe like no other. He knows it in every condition. He has more time out there than anyone. That doesn't mean he will get the waves. It's a contest. That's just how things go. But if you give a guy like Jamie 3 chances to get 2 good waves, I mean, the odds are very high that he's going to get those waves. And that's just a lifetime of knowledge, and still every swell, he is getting the best waves. So that's Jamie. And Baron. Baron is super comfortable in competitive situations. Great ocean read. He knows the sneaky ones on the weird days at pipes, and he knows when to wait for the good ones on the good days. He has that same draw that those guys have of finding a good wave even when it's hard, which is really important at pipe, because in this format, you may surf a heat with less than good conditions, but your scores are compared to a guy who might surf a heat in really good conditions. And so you got to really make the most out of what you find out at pipe during your heat. And you got to remember you're competing against guys that may surf in different conditions. May work in your favor, where you get a heat that's really good and really consistent, lots of waves, lots of big sets. It may not work in your favor, where you get a really slow heat, the tide's weird, the wind's weird, and then the guys later on get a really good heat. But that's why there's multiple rounds, shuffle guys through, and that'll give everyone somewhat closer to even chance. Never going to be perfect, but that's just the way the format works. And so those 3 guys, I believe, are really good at finding good waves in multiple condition situations. So those are my top picks. For the underdog picks, this one's a lot harder, but based off the odds, you have guys, you're just going down the list, you have guys like Ivan.
I was gonna say that.
Really good odds on him. Bet less to win more kind of odds, and really good at pipe. You guys have all seen him on Instagram, putting in the time, putting in the style, and he's got the multi-game facet to coming in out of the barrel and doing a big air if he chooses to do so. Things like that situation. And then Benji Brand, Makana Pang, Noah Beshin, all local knowledge guys that have spent, they're young, but they've spent a lot of time out there, a lot of time. And they're lower in the odds, get down into where, I mean, you don't really consider these guys underdogs, right? But we're talking underdogs based on the odds. These are just professional pipe surfers. They're all extremely talented, but based off the odds. So you're going down the list like Mackay, Mason. Mason is a plus 33. That's crazy. I would put him in my top picks to win list too, but we just can't go too high on that list. But if he gets on a roll, he's on. Eli Koa, of course, lifetime out there. Ayala Stewart with a plus 8,000. He just rode what might be wave of the winter in the last swell. And he's got an attachment to pipe, and he's on a roll this winter. And if the opportunity comes his way, he's got the talent and the know-how to pick the right wave for his really high scores. He already rode a 20 this winter, so he's really low, or just you can bet a very little to win a lot with him, and he is too low on that list for me. That's the odds maker made that list, but super underdog pick based on the odds, Ayala.
I would say Balaram, Nathan, and Benji as my top 3 to win. I like everyone you picked too, though. I think that's a really solid one. I think you 3, if you're given good waves.
That's why I wore the shirt. That's why I wore the shirt.
I changed my answer. Just kidding. I think if you guys get good conditions, you guys really perform well. Balaram has already won multiple times at pipe. Benji just absolutely sends it out at pipe.
Yep.
And he really commits to pipe as well. And you are just amazing out there. I don't have to explain myself there. And then I would say the odds, same. The top 3 odds, I think would be Ivan, Ayala, Kainehe, or Tosh.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Tosh has really been trying to commit lately to bigger waves. I've seen some of his stuff.
Yep, and Kainehe rode that crazy backdoor wave last season.
Yeah.
Great style and great barrel rider. What's the odds on them?
The odds on Kainehe is plus 800.
Plus 8,000.
8,000. 8,000, baby.
For the women's, I think the odds makers kind of nailed this one. I mean, you have your top picks: Katie, Moana, Molly, Vahine, Sierra, Erin Brooks. All these girls are very, very capable. We've seen them come into their own, and just this last year and the year before push the level of what barrel riding is at for women, especially Moana at pipe, and what the girls did in Tahiti, and that heat. Who was it? It was Molly and Katie had at backdoor last year. Just crazy. And so they're all super capable and super comfortable now in these barreling waves. They've had a few years to acclimate to them, and their talent is there, but now the confidence is there. And that's going to play a huge role in how they compete this year. I think underdog picks, Coco, kind of way down the list with a plus 6,600. She's not an underdog out there, but on the odds she is. So I would bet Coco. She surfed out there for years, has Mason in her corner, has Uncle Mike in her corner. She's got the bloodline and she's got the knowledge, and I've seen her get great backdoor waves. That'll be my underdog pick, and maybe Ann DeSantos and Luana Silva. Ann DeSantos, she's been charging around the world. She has a lot of experience in heavy waves, so just that comfortability factor. I think the main thing for the women, it's a lot about their comfortableness and their confidence. A lot of them have the talent, but they seem to be hesitant in the waves, and that constricts their ability when you get that hesitation out of a heavy wave. That's the game-changing factor between what makes a good big wave surfer or slab surfer and one who just can't never get over the hump, is the hesitation, the lack of confidence to fully commit. So I think those girls will bring that in those type of heats. And so that's the picks for the ladies. Me and Mahina went over that list together, both agreed on the same picks. So you guys put your picks in the comments below. We'll put a link to the Bound Line odds, and let's hope for some good conditions. Gonna go over forecast. So I've checked the forecast this morning. It can always change, it always does, but it's actually upgraded and gotten a lot better than it looked a few days ago. The swell has a bit of north in it, 6 to 8 foot backdoor, maybe some bigger days, maybe some 10 to 12 foot pipe. So that's super exciting. My picks remain the same based off that forecast. Yeah, I mean, you never know how these event windows are gonna go, but this is shaping up to be very consistent. This event probably going to run the 9th and 10th very early in the waiting period. And then, do you know how many days they need?
They said no more than 4.
Okay, so 2 to 4 days to finish the event. There's plenty of swell in the waiting period. If they run first 2 days in the 9th and 10th and that swell remains, the pretty easy finish in good conditions. You never know with those further out forecasts, but that's our picks. And so head over to BetOnline, check it out if you want to. If not, do whatever you do. We'll be here. More videos come. Hawaii winter videos incoming. Holiday season.